since quantum physics has obviously gained a lot of traction, how
Hmm.
is that going to affect the technology that we have in the future in
Oh,
quantum
wow.
computing?
We are just getting to the beginning of quantum computing. I can tell you later about some of the details of it. Even I'm amazed when I think about it and I read about it. And well, I'll mention right now that one of my cousins, Dr. Patty Lee, uh, gave me a lot of the information I know about quantum computers. She is a project scientist, brilliant lady, in one of the leading quantum computing facilities in the world. And when I was looking at this stuff and going, I think I understand it, but could you please clarify for me? It was she who spent a lot of time with me, just sort of telling me how these things work in language I could understand. I was like, wow, that's awesome. So the quantum computing part is right at the very tip. We're just starting. You can't think of quantum computing right now as say as mature, or think of like a laptop computer or something like that, or even the microprocessor in your cell phone. It has an operating system, it has a monitor, it has a keyboard, right? You can put things into it and it will do things out. You can put software into it, or you can load an app, and then suddenly your phone or your computer can do something on your behalf. Quantum computing is way earlier than that stage. It is like to modern computers the way that when Alan Turing or Ada Lovelace, more than a human lifetime ago, was moving levers and pushing buttons or thinking of ways that you can move things to add up one, two, three, four kinds of things. So we're really way ahead of the game. But I will say that in your general question, Smitty, the idea of using quantum physics in technology, it's been shown over and over again that we can do it, right? From the century ago discoveries of folks like Einstein and Max Planck and folks like that, we immediately got things like nuclear power. The understanding of just how atoms and molecules work gave us modern electronics. When we figured out that it was electrons, these little tiny quantum particles that carries electricity, but because they're these quantum particles, you can't think of them as just little grains of sand that have
Right.
electricity, right? Instead, they actually act as waves and particles at the same time. So, for example, there was a piece of equipment called the quantum tunnel diode that was invented, where literally these pieces of electricity were going through solid matter, not just sort of showing their effects from a distance, but actually going through, kind of like the Flash supposedly
Yeah.
does, goes through walls and so forth. And so these kinds of things happen because we thought of atoms having electrons with specific energy levels, this energy quantization. Uh, Einstein created these ideas of what we call coefficients, Einstein A and B coefficients that we use that help us understand how electricity and light, for that matter, exits and enters into atomic systems. That gave us the idea, oh, you could stimulate the emission of radiation. You could take a small amount of radiation, put it in a device, and then you can make more radiation come out of it as a result. That there's specific kind of wavelength, a specific kind of focus, and the laser was born. And today, we use lasers in literally everything. And it's just amazing how the technology continues to move forward. So I think quantum computing is a next great frontier. It may be a whole human lifetime before we start having quantum computers in our hands, but that is definitely a technology that'll happen. Superconductors, another technology that's been developed for the past few, and I wouldn't be surprised if superconductors become a big part of our or bigger part of our lives before even quantum computers are, because we already use superconductors for things like medical imaging machines. We already use them for certain magnetic levitation trains that go 300-400 miles an hour. um, if we could make those things into a daily thing instead of just a special thing, then we could not too long from, and it's just amazing how the technology continues to move forward. So I think quantum computing is a next great frontier. It may be a whole human lifetime before we start having quantum computers in our hands. But that is definitely a technology that'll happen. Superconductors, another technology that's been developed for the past few, and I wouldn't be surprised if superconductors become a big part of our or bigger part of our lives before even quantum computers are, because we already use superconductors for things like medical imaging machines. We already use them for certain magnetic levitation trains that go 300-400 miles an hour. Um, if we could make those things into a daily thing instead of just a special thing, then we could not too long from now be zipping around without having to go through TSA and just get from New York to Boston in 40 minutes or, you
Oh,
know.
the freedom.
That
Oh,
would
the
be
freedom.
that would be pretty cool. Be better if we could just like beam me up, Scotty. But I
Oh,
don't guess
yes.
that would be nice.
That we can talk about that later. That kind of quantum activity is even further away and may not ever
Yeah.
be possible. But, there's a lot of physics we don't know yet. So I don't want to rule anything out absolutely.